You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.
You play to win the game. Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and we've got the funky chicken back here. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. This is not the season that we wanted, but it's the season that we have. And we're coming down the home stretch. We've got 4 games left, one of which today in Carolina, and I don't know what the hell is going on with the Dallas Cowboys. I have never in my life seen a team that seems to be so snake-bitten. At this point, there should be like a mercy rule or a slaughter rule or something. Let's just finish this thing and get it out the way, because it's almost like, think about the movie Saving Private Ryan, when they were trying to take the beach. Guys are going left and right. They're just boom. It's just left and right. That feels like the Dallas Cowboys season. For Diggs now to be out, having knee surgery, we don't know the severity of the knee. We don't know if it's just a cleanup or if there's problem with the repaired ACL or if there's other damage that's come through. We just don't know. We know that it's been bothering him all season, and I guess they looked at it and said, the time is ripe to go ahead and get yourself together for next year. If I'm a Dallas Cowboy player, I'm like, who's next? Oh, they just got Johnny. Oh, they got Johnny. I hope that we don't lose anybody else between now and the rest of the season, because now, here's the problem. As you're losing guys at this point in the season, with the NFL now talking about 18-game seasons, which is crazy in my mind that your body just can't hold up for long. When you think about 2 extra games, if you play 8 years, that's like paying a whole nother season. We can't make it out the gates for half the season. How are we going to make it for 18? But we have the Carolina Panthers today, and I want to know from you, the fan, do you want to see the Cowboys win this? We've got nothing to play for here but pride, other than draft position. That's all we got left, draft position. And I understand. Best thing for us at this point is we lose this week to Carolina. We lose next week to Tampa Bay. We lose the following week to the Eagles. Oh, God. And then we lose to the Commanders. And then we have a top 10 pick. When you think back to 2016's draft, where we ended up drafting Zeke and Dak and everything else, we turned around a 4-12 team into a 13-3 team. And, yeah. So maybe that's what we have to look forward to if the Joneses don't screw it up. But it's something about losing that I just can't ever, even if there's a loss with a purpose, that I can get on board with. But let's be clear here. I think if you start to see the team unravel in a way like we're seeing with, say, San Francisco, a team that people said was, the Super Bowl favorite, that they were the best built team, and you looked at it from last year and you were like, oh, man, Debo Samuels. Oh, man, they got Ayuk re-signed and stuff right there. They got Skittle Kittle. Trent Williams is still great. You've got, Brock Purdy, who was the darling out there and, was going to be the next Joe Montana. And, of course, Christian McCaffrey. And you looked at that and said, man, that's a star-studded team. You know they're going to be back in the playoffs and probably the Super Bowl. But yet, they've gone down the toilet. And now with the whole Campbell situation where he literally refused to go back in the game, you have to actually wonder, is that team unraveling where they might make a move and get rid of Shanahan? I know that 49er fans, I know you guys watch intently. I'm so happy that you 49er fans watch intently, and everything that I say, you take personally. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit the like button for me at least. I know you're subscribed because you're going to send me emails to let me know that, big boy, you keep running your mouth. It's like, yeah, I keep running it and you keep listening to it. So, of course, I'm going to keep running my mouth. The thing will be for Mike McCarthy is, will they still have the rah-rah fight? Will they still be playing to win the game? That's going to be the big question, because if you lose the team, then you lose your job. And the next 4 games are going to be telling. We all know we don't have enough stuff right now. We don't. And I can plausibly deny the fact that we've lost so many people. I was sitting here naming last night all the positions and players that we've lost. And I forgot to name D-Law. I forgot to. There's been so many. How crazy is it that we've had so many injuries that you forget about guys like D-Law that have been gone all season? How could we forget the best run stopper that we've had? But it's literally been that bad that you forget. The list is so long. It's like, geez, you can't compete in the NFL without having your horses. And right now, the only horses we have is Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons. That's it on defense. On offense, I guess you can say that Rico is emerging. 200-yard games back-to-back. That's a miracle right there. But other than that, we've got nothing. We got nothing. So we'll see what the Cowboys do today against the Panthers. Again, the Cowboys are a 3-point underdog going against a Carolina team that is... How are you an underdog to a team that's 3-10? That's where we are, guys. We're an underdog on the road against a 3-10 team. We won't be favored any game the rest of the season. There are some key games that are going on today that will be very, very big. One of which will be the 4 o'clock matchup of the Steelers and the Eagles. We'll be here live streaming all day. I know there's not a whole lot to watch and cheer about with the Cowboys, but that's a pivotal game there. The Steelers, who not too many people thought were going to be good with Russell Wilson, have been fantastic. Can they shut down the running game of the Eagles? And will A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts get back on track? That's going to be a big one right there. I'm going to say Buffalo, Detroit. Both teams are looking great as far as playoffs go, but the Lions, they need this win to keep ahead of the Eagles. And so this is a crucial game for them, without a doubt. Other than that, most of the other games are kind of ass. Tennessee, Cincinnati, who cares? Baltimore will crush the Giants. Washington will cruise past New Orleans. The Jaguars and Jets, 3-10 and 3-10. Ouch. Miami, Houston, I guess you could say that's going to be a decent one to watch. Houston 8-5, a little bit of a disappointment from where they were, but still in great position in comparison to us. And so those are the games that we're definitely going to watch. The Seattle-Green Bay game tonight will be a really big one because, of course, Seattle needs to fend off the dogs behind them, and Green Bay wants to try and keep pace for that 4th wild card spot. So the big question will be is, what do the Dallas Cowboys do in the future here with Mike McCarthy. On a daily basis, we have a brand new flavor. Last night, Mike Fisher was talking about Kellen Moore, and I don't want any more of Kellen Moore. The day before that, it was, of course, Mike Vrabel, of course, on the list there. Bill Belichick, of course, is scratched off the list. Dion always resurfaces from time to time. So this will be the talk, of course, is who's going to replace Mike McCarthy. But I think in reality, Mike McCarthy will replace Mike McCarthy.
The heck are you?
I'm wonderful, guys, and a very happy birthday to my guy, Brian Broaddus. Where's Brian? What's up, dude? Happy birthday, man.
Well, thank you, sir. And in 2 days' time, happy birthday to you on the 14th as well.
My birthday brother. Let's go get a steak in a crappy, like, divey steak restaurant, you know?
Yeah, we're up
Sizzler.
for that.
Yeah, make a trip out to the Sizzler
Western,
there.
Western Sizzler, Dave. We miss that so much, man.
They brought Brian
Absolutely.
a cupcake and some cake balls here at Hurtado just a few minutes ago.
they
We
brought a
sung
lot of
happy
stuff.
birthday to him.
Yeah, it's been a nice day, Dave. It's been a real nice day.
Good,
So,
I'm glad.
Yeah, and we needed that after Jerry and Steve last night. They've been talking, signaling a further tightening of the belt coming up in 2025. Where can we get some confidence going, Dave, that they'll have a turnaround season?
They're good at drafting, they have been good at drafting over, periods of time. I mean, it's been iffy here the last 2 years, but they're 5-8. I would imagine they've got a few more losses left in front of them, and so maybe a top 10 pick and knock that out of the park, and maybe we've seen the effect that guys like Micah Parsons and younger Dak and Zeke have had on this team. So yeah, you nail the draft, and it won't matter that you're not willing to make the team better in March.
Where are you at with the idea of Mike McCarthy returning in 2025?
It's tough for me because I have often been somebody that's willing to defend Mike, just because of the consistency that he's brought. Again, 3 12-win seasons it's a level of consistency that the Cowboys haven't enjoyed in roughly 30 years. I said it when he got hired, the goal is to win the Super Bowl, but the goal is also to be a team that you can count on to make the playoffs. And the Cowboys were up until they didn't try this year, and then everybody got hurt at the beginning of the season. So, I don't lay this all at McCarthy's feet, but I don't know how you drum up enthusiasm by bringing back the guy that, oversaw a really dismal season, and let's be honest, it looked like this season was going nowhere before Dak Prescott ever got hurt. So I truly don't lay it all at Mike McCarthy's feet. But I don't know if you can survive this just from an optics standpoint. And if he does, at the very least, I hope, Jerry and Steven would force him to bring in maybe a new voice on offense. Maybe he gives the play calling duties back up. Maybe you try to, I guess if you're trying to drum up enthusiasm, maybe you do it with him being sort of the figurehead of a much more exciting coaching staff.
That's interesting.
Than Mike Zimmer with Mike McCarthy calling plays. I just don't think that's doing it for anybody. So I think I like Mike more than the average Cowboys person, but I'd still be pretty surprised if they stick with that vision moving forward.
Were you surprised that Bill Belichick made the move he did and maybe taking himself out of jobs? Or, Gavin and I were talking, or the show was actually talking about maybe that Belichick didn't have the support of teams in NFL that were looking for a head coach. Was he reading the room? Is that why he's in Chapel Hill right now, Dave?
So I'm not surprised that he didn't get an NFL coaching job. And, I think he can see the writing on the wall. Obviously, you got to assume Bill Belichick has really good connections and a really good network of people that'll tell him things. And, Bill Belichick can get Jerry and Stephen Jones on the phone at the drop of a hat, I would guess.
Yeah.
So I think he had a really good read. I'm not surprised that he didn't get a head coaching job in the NFL because, again, all these teams are skewing younger and younger. People want guys who have a hand in the play calling, whether it's on offense or defense. It's crazy. Like, when I started covering the NFL, I mean, we all remember how crazy it was when Sean McVay got his shot, and you don't bat an eye now when you see like a 37, 38-year-old guy get a shot as an NFL head coach. So I think teams are drifting away from that Belichick model. What is surprising,
which I think is a good thing,
he would dive into college football, major college football. I mean, I get it. Like, it's got to be a blow to his ego for the NFL to not want him, and he'd probably rather be coaching than doing media, but I just think college football is a whole different ballgame, man. It is chaotic. It is expensive. It is demanding. It's so much more demanding than being a pro coach. I was kind of surprised that he went that route rather than, he could have stayed in the media and made a lot of money doing that, or if he was just desperate to be in an NFL building, I would imagine somebody would bring him on as a consultant or something. But to try to turn a middling UNC program into a success at his age sounds exhausting. I wish him luck.
Dave, do you feel like that maybe that Jerry Jones might have told him? You mentioned about pick up the phone. Do you think Jerry might have told him, I'm not making a coaching change? And Bill
well, you know what? No, I don't think so. I don't think Jerry said I'm not making a coaching change. But to go back to what I just said,
yeah,
I could easily imagine that Bill Belichick was reading between the lines. Maybe Jerry and Steven don't pick up the phone for him, or maybe whatever conversations that
he wanted
had.
this job. He might have wanted the Cowboys job, and he felt like that he could work with Jerry and Steven, but they kind of the way that they're talking, that it kind of scared him off. Like, well, I'm not going to have a chance for the Cowboys job, so I might as well get something I can get.
I think for what his resume is, and the fact that most people agree he's the greatest NFL coach ever, or at least one of them, I think he didn't want to deal with the optics of going through another hiring cycle and being left holding the bag again like he was last year, because everybody was so surprised and caught off guard that nobody wanted him last year. And to do all that again and not get a job, I could imagine why that would be a little embarrassing for somebody who's accomplished as much as he has.
Wow.
David Hellman, NFL on Fox podcast. I'm sure you've seen this idea kicked around of trading Micah Parsons. Where do you weigh in on that?
I could go both ways with that. Me and Brian always joke about like doing good radio. Like, I could probably make whichever case you want me to make. Because I'm a draft nerd. I love like team building and allocating resources and managing the cap. Like, that's really what I get nerdy about when it comes to football. So the idea of having like 3 first-round picks to play with and getting a big contract, making that not your problem, like, that's very intriguing to me from a team building perspective. But if I had to draw a line, if you made me choose, I still think there just aren't very many guys that can do what Micah Parsons does. And you know what? He was second in the league in pressures this week. He's one of the leaders in the entire league in pressures, despite the fact that he's missed as many games as he has with injury. I know he's a big personality and he's kind of a lightning rod because he likes being in the public eye, but I don't think there's more than 2 or 3 pass rushers in the NFL that are better than Micah Parsons. There might not even be that many. So I think you gotta saddle up and do and work. Trying to build a team with an expensive pass rusher is a good problem to have.
Okay, staying with the team-building theme, do you prefer an offseason that has Rico Dowdle remaining as running back 1 or Ashton Jeanty being your first-round pick in the top 15?
I think the world of Ashton Jeanty. I think he's a hell of a player. I've watched him a lot this year, especially living out on the West Coast now. These Boise games happen earlier for me, so I'm not staying up till midnight to watch him play. But I love what Rico's doing. I'm I'm so frustrated that it took the Cowboys 7
All
weeks
season.
to
No
figure
kidding.
out that he was.
Yeah.
I mean, and like, you know, people have kind of pushed back on me, like he's been their leading ball carrier for most of the season. And I'm like, BS, dude. Go look at the split. He was struggling to get more than 50% of the carries, and all of a sudden, after Thanksgiving, no, not even after Thanksgiving, after
before the Commanders game, right at the Commanders game.
Yeah, before the Washington.
Well, Pittsburgh, they win the Pittsburgh game with him, and then they put him on ice, and then now you break him out for the Commanders game.
It's crazy.
It's crazy what they did. They've done everything wrong this season,
and they won, and he looked fantastic. And then he didn't start playing didn't start getting that much usage again for a month. It's insane.
Yeah.
And beside the point, but I love Rico as much as I love Ashton Genty. I don't think you need to overcorrect here. I really don't. I think there are so many good running backs in this draft, and I know they don't have a 4th round pick now, which was an asinine decision in my opinion. But you can find a running back in the 3rd round, or you can do something to reacquire a 4th round pick. We know there are ways you can finagle that.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have Rico and a 3rd or 4th round draft pick at running back. Yeah, I mean, hey, my guy Cam Scatterbo just
get
put
me
on
a stud
show
offensive lineman. Okay,
last weekend, like
get me a stud offensive lineman
all up and down the draft. So I would way rather have Rico, and I mean, you do need a talented rookie back. I'm not convinced it needs to be Ashton Genty. Not when this team needs. I mean, shoot, you need help at receiver. They need. I mean, pick a spot on the defensive line. You know, we'll see what happens with DeMarcus Lawrence, but you could probably use another pass rusher. Linebacker, unfortunately, looks like a problem now that DeMarvion Overshone is dealing with that injury, which sucks for him. We'll see what happens with Zach Martin. I mean, I just listed off about 5 problems that seem like a bigger deal than running back. So I would rather not use that pick on a runner.
They probably have more problems than they can solve with the draft, but with Stevens saying,
the problem.
"Oh, the cap." I mean, Dave, you were here for a long time. You've been covering this team. When have they ever been really in a good place with the salary cap?
They have not.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way they prefer to do it. I'm not gonna outright call them liars, but I just think that they exaggerate those things because they know not very many people want to dive into the specifics of the salary cap. You can always finagle it to create money if you want to. The Cowboys just don't want to build their team that way, and
there we go.
You know, I don't know what it's going to take to take them out of that because it's blown up in their face half a dozen times at this point. But I mean, newsflash: the problem with drafting well is that you do have to pay those guys, and the Cowboys always do it after they kick and scream for a year and a half. But you know that puts you behind the 8 ball with your finances, and it doesn't allow you to benefit as much as you could from the cheap salaries that everybody else is making.
There you go. I'm going to leave it right there. But see, and I'll have more on this later because sometimes. You know, they always say we always have this feeling like we can't live without our guys. We believe in our guys and things. But the Cowboys would have been better off either paying Amari Cooper and kept him or going out in free agency and gotten another receiver instead, or keeping Cedric Wilson instead of paying an injured Michael Gallup. And the argument can be made that instead of paying Terrence Steele the money that they did and possibly having to take dead money if they do release him, that they would have been better off getting a healthy veteran. This is where the system's just broken with the Joneses. It just is. Already good people, I'm going to go make me a pot of chili. It's one of those kind of days. It's kind of a rainy, sleety, snowy day here in the valley. And I believe my buddy Jet D is going to come over here and watch the Cowboys with us and see what happens. As always, I appreciate you guys. Peace.